Hello everyone, so welcome to my channel, or welcome back if you aren't new here. My name is Amanda, and over here on No Niche I make content unrelated to any particular niche because I don't like niches and I don't want to pick one thing that I want to talk about for the rest of my life and stick at that on YouTube, because that's just not who I am. But yeah, so in today's video, I'm going to be talking about my triple job testimony. You could say it's like 5, but I thought I'd just wrap it into 3 testimonies. But I thought before I get into it, it would be really helpful to give you a bit of an insight into the timeline of things. So we're going to start the story in August of 2021, and then it's going to transition to December 2021, and then from then on we will move into 2022, the later part of 2022, and then the very beginning of 2023. So this is a testimony, well, several testimonies that span several years. So I don't want anyone to think, oh, you know, it's like back to back to back. It's like, no, it's not back to back to back. But yeah, I hope that gives you a little bit of an insight. But at the beginning of each segment, I will try and make it clear where we are, what the timeline is, so that you can follow. So yeah, I hope that you find this interesting. I hope you find it encouraging, and yeah, if you enjoy it, don't forget to hit subscribe and like, and let me know in the comments what you think, and you know, what a takeaway is from this video, and I will see you in the next one, so enjoy. Before I get started with today's video, I just wanted to share this new coaster that I got, which I love. It's a personalised one, and yeah, it's just to sit on my desk whilst I work, and it's a good, you know, good weight. If anyone's curious, it's by someone, well, the company is called Kate Ceramics. I found it on, not on the high street, so go ahead and check it out if you fancy a ceramic coaster. In today's video, I have decided that I want to share my triple job testimony with you all, and I've been wanting to, you know, share at least the first part for a while, but I've had to like sit down and like actually figure out my thoughts and so on and so forth. But yeah, I'm going to just be talking about how God, you know, ushered me through my unemployment season and then opened the door at the right moment to a unexpected position, which then led to another position, which then led to another position. So yeah, but whilst I'm talking, if I look this way, it's because I am filming on my tablet, which I don't usually do, but I've put some notes on the side so that I don't forget to say anything. But yeah, okay. Before I get into it in depth, I think it's important to go back so that we can go forward. So we're going to start the story in 2019. So in about September 2019, I realised that God was trying to get my attention, and it essentially propelled me into going from someone who had always believed in God for as long as I could actually remember, but wasn't really, you know, actively living a Christian life. It wasn't, you know, the concept of reading a Bible was an actual myth. So I went from that, and, you know, also the other thing of like only praying when I actually needed help on something, but like when things were good, it was like, okay, don't need you. I don't need you right now. I've got it all under control. I'll let you know when I need help, type thing. So it went from that to, in like day and night, sort of, you know, in the flip of a switch almost. I went to, you know, okay, I need to read my Bible, and I need to read it cover to cover. I need to, you know, learn some more about Jesus. It's like it was like something just clicked, and yeah, I was looking for any and every opportunity to get in my Bible, watch sermons, anything that could, you know, build up that knowledge, but also develop that relationship further. And so that led me to New Year's of 2019. Honestly, I must have started setting New Year's resolutions probably as like in my early teens, and for the first time it kind of dawned on me around New Year's of 2019 that the things that I had been clinging to and hoping for 2019 didn't come to pass. And with this new, you know, fire, I would say, behind my faith, I thought, actually, I'm not going to do New Year's resolutions anymore. I'm just going to let, you know, let's see how things go if I just let God lead the way and I just happily follow. And yeah, so I decided no New Year's resolutions. I'm just going to go into 2020 and, you know, God, do whatever you want to do, and I will just, you know, follow behind. And it was probably one of the absolute best decisions I have ever made. What 2020 became potentially one of the most chaotic years that most people have experienced. It was lovely to have started the year with that anchor of my faith and essentially declaring, like, you know, come what may, I trust you to get me from A to B, wherever it is that you wish for me to go. Let's go to spring 2020, and really, you know, for most, this is highlighted as the time that the pandemic was at its height. I'm not taking away from that in any way, shape or form, and I realise I'm very lucky to have had such a great 2020. But yeah, during spring of 2020, I had just finished doing a Bible course that a friend of mine had casually posted on Instagram, and then I just started the course the next day. But, you know, not really thinking of how much of a difference it would make. It was honestly once again, another amazing choice, and I'll be eternally grateful that she just decided to reshare a post and that I happened to see it. But yeah, so I finished that course and I decided, you know, I was thinking to myself, it feels like God needs me to focus on something particular during this season. You know, I figured I'm unemployed. I'm going to be searching for jobs, but I don't want that to be the only thing that I'm doing, and it doesn't feel like it should be the only thing that I'm doing. So one night I prayed, and then I essentially asked God, okay, what is it that you need me to be focusing on during this season? And the answer that I got was about a couple of nights later. I woke up at about 3:15 in the morning, which is not normal. And it was essentially as though I was getting a download of art. It was just like a PowerPoint, but at insane speed, just like drawings and art in general. And I knew immediately that was my answer. I mean, of course, over the course of the year, I did ask again for confirmation just to make sure, and I did get other confirmations that I was on the right track, which was great. And so despite the fact that I was not somebody that made art in its traditional form at any point. I mean, I hadn't done any art since maybe about the age of 13 or 14. So the concept of me making art was, I mean, really, if I was in my previous like way of thinking, so if like God had said do art in like, you know, the beginning of 2019, I would have just laughed and been like, it's obviously not you talking, so I'm gonna just, you know, continue as I am, because I can't draw and I can't paint. So maybe you've got confused somewhere along the line and requested that somebody would do art and you thought it was me, but you got the wrong person. Because if somebody had asked me to paint something for them, I would have been like, I don't paint, and I didn't paint. But in spring 2020, I didn't question it. I was like, okay. And now I make art, and I made a lot of art, all of it in the hope of, you know, sharing the love of Christ with others, and also encouraging people and reminding them of their worth, because I think that's something really important, and it's unfortunately something that doesn't, you know, that doesn't happen enough in society. Oftentimes things are trying to pull you down and tell you that you're not enough, and I thought, what better way than through art to remind people that, you know, that they matter and that God sees them and that they are of value, and basically just do everything that I could to counter the narratives of this world. So yeah, I spent the rest of 2020 just making art. I got involved in a acting opportunity as well, a remote one, and yeah, I was just having a good time making my art and so on and so forth. And yeah, that leads me to 2021, and we are going to go straight to June 2021. So as 2021 started, I was still going off the momentum of 2020 and just being so grateful to God that he opened up so many opportunities for me to just learn more about him and to grow closer to him, and to actually hear him, and to, you know, I don't know, he was just talking so loud and so clear, and he still was in 2021. Especially the first part of 2021. Now in June, I was getting quite just tired of applying for jobs. I had some recruiters that were just wasting my time, and when I got to June, I was like, hey, you know what, I'm going to take a few weeks off applying for jobs. I'm just going to chill and just take it off, because June is my birthday month as well. So I thought, you know what, I'm not applying for jobs around my birthday, I need a break. And then at the end of the month, I applied for a job, and I didn't really think too much of it, because it's like, you know, at that point, how many jobs had I already applied for? I mean, after a while, you're just kind of like, you know, that inputting your CV and your details and so on and so forth just becomes almost like a robotic behaviour. And what's interesting about this particular job, though, even though I hadn't really thought about it in much detail, was that I had applied for this job the previous year, but I didn't get past the like first stage. So this time I didn't really have any high hopes, because I thought, I mean, you've obviously got like a certain criteria that you're looking for, and if I didn't match it last year, probably don't match it this year. But to my surprise, the tide began to change throughout July. I got an email from by the recruiter who was dealing with the job I had applied for at the end of June, saying that she'd like to talk to me. And we had a discussion about me and about the role, and, you know, just to get a general feel for how I might fit into the role. And what really took me by surprise. I can't remember which particular meeting it was, whether it was the first one or one of the others, because I was having many conversations with this recruiter. It was a very unusual situation. It felt like every week we were having another meeting. I was sitting down almost like 30 minutes at a time talking to this lady that I didn't know, but she seemed so enthusiastic about me. And in one of the meetings that I had with her, she just casually just said, "Look at all the gifts God has given you." And I just thought, did she just say God? I just thought, I've never ever been in this kind of situation before, where somebody just casually brings up God in a, in a recruiter potential employee meeting. And it is worth mentioning, the job has nothing to do with Christianity or religion in any way, shape or form. I don't work for a church, so it seemed so like, out of the blue. And it was almost as though the minute she said that, my brain was like, oh, this might be something that I need to really focus on. Like, this might be something that requires my attention, because this is different. How is it that I spent my entire 2020 just like going after God, and then this recruiter lady just comes out of nowhere and she's talking about God? The timing just seems very godly. So the actual process which led to actually getting this role in the end was quite intense. At the beginning I had to do a test, I had to speak to the recruiter, then I had at one point 3 back-to-back interviews, 30 minutes each. And yeah, I did document some of this process, so I'll insert some clips now of how that process went. Okay, so I have 2 days to go. I've spent the morning going through my dictaphone, listening to it, answering questions, and just generally preparing. So yeah, 2 days to go. It's currently 12:30. I've probably started at around, 9ish. Today is going to be the last day of revising, and then I'm just going to chill out tomorrow and have a great time. And then Wednesday is the actual interview, or interviews back to back. But yeah, I'm just excited to get this over and done with. Roll on Thursday. I can't remember if I said in the last video or last clip that on Friday I had a chat with the recruiter who was preparing me for things that I should expect. Then on Saturday I spent some time preparing. Today I'm having another chat with her from 2 to 3 for some more preparation, and then that's it. So yeah, and this week I'm supposed to be talking with somebody, I think on Friday or something, about art. So this is quite a day. This is quite a week, and then next week it's just a bunch of family stuff. So yeah, very, very busy. 1 down, 2 to go. So far so good. 2 down and 1 to go. So far so good. A little sweaty after that one, but it was good. So glad it's over. I'm so sweaty. It's unbelievable. I need to get out of this shirt immediately. And then after weeks of meetings and then the quite intense 3 interviews back to back, I got an email in my inbox. And what I think is important to mention, because I think sometimes, especially if you're watching this and you're not a Christian, you can sometimes have the impression that like Christians are like happy-go-lucky, always hope-filled and never have any doubts. But with this job, I would say probably at some point in July, even before I had my first interview, something in me knew that this was going to be my job. But even with that knowledge, I didn't want to get my hopes up because I'm not the sort of person that likes to get my hopes up. So when I did receive that email, this was my immediate response. Hi everyone, so today is July 27th and I just got an email about 5 minutes ago from the recruiter lady for the who's part of the company where I applied for the job, and she said that she's got some good news. So today is Tuesday. I was meant to find out on Friday, but it seems that the leaders have been really busy, but now she seems to have good news, so we'll see what this good news is. You'll see that my energy is not very like, oh yay, because this is the product of having applied for a job, been applying for jobs for over a year. After a while you just become quite numb to the event, so we'll see. And this is how the conversation went with the recruiter. Here goes. Hello. Great. So, in the spirit of not getting my hopes up, when I heard that I got the job, as you would have seen from that previous clip, I didn't really react. It wasn't like a yay, it was more of like a okay sort of reaction. And even though I had been offered the job, there was, that wasn't the end of the tests. I still had to do a French test, 2 French tests. So the first one was a written test, and then the second one was a French speaking test, which essentially consisted of speaking with one of the French native speakers that work at the company. And this is how it went. Alors, il y a 11 minutes depuis le début de mon test de français ou la discussion en français, je vais parler avec un homme qui travaille pour l'organisation et il va vérifier si mon niveau de français est suffisant pour le rôle ou pas. Oui, on va voir si c'est bon ou pas. Mais après avoir complété mes études à l'université et mon master, j'espère que mon niveau de français est suffisant pour prendre des appels en français. Donc, on va voir, mais à bientôt. He said that my French is really, really good. I'm so excited. So excited. Yes. And then after that whirlwind of a July, potentially the most intense July of my entire life so far, 7 days later, I started my job, and I did a little clip as well of just my thoughts on my first day. So I'll insert that now. Hello everyone, so it is officially my first day of working. I haven't started yet. It is currently almost 8:10. I'm just about to have my breakfast. I start at 9. And yeah, it kind of feels like I'm starting school all over again because we have an induction day. Basically today is essentially an induction, and I don't remember having an induction day ever since I was at secondary school, so yeah, it's a bit strange, but yeah, am I excited? I guess I am excited. I'm just intrigued because we get to meet all of the UK team this morning, and then in the afternoon I'm meeting the US team, so it'll be interesting to see the new cohort. But I think I may be one of the oldest because I think a lot of people join this job after their first degree, but I'm joining after my second degree, so either way. But yeah, it'll be interesting to meet everybody, and yeah, it's kind of crazy to think. I just keep remembering every now and then. It's like I always wanted to work remotely and have a job where I get to use my French, and suddenly I have a job where I can work remotely and use my French. Like do you know what I mean? It doesn't feel real, and I'm sure it won't feel real for a really long time, because I think for a while I was like saying it but not really sure that the job that I really wanted, that a job that I would truly enjoy doing, actually existed. But yeah, anywho, I'm gonna go have my breakfast now, and then I'm gonna head back upstairs. I already logged in, and yeah, it was just weird logging in. Even that was weird, logging in. Having my own new login. Yeah, it's just weird, isn't it? It's all weird, but let's hope today is a good day, and hopefully the sun will come out at some point before I finish work. And yes, it's, even now when I think about it, I'm confused, not confused, but I'm just so taken aback and grateful for the way that God just pieced everything together. Because in the end, actually, I had, found out from the recruiter that normally she wouldn't be working to employ people at my level, that normally she deals with recruiting directors and things of that nature, but they needed help in that team and they asked her if she could help. So it just feels like, a divine thing that she was put there, placed there for that very moment in time, and that a fellow Christian would usher me out of unemployment into my my new role, which was, it's super, super wild. But yeah, that leads me to job testimony number 2. Now, to my huge, actually, no, let me go back again a little bit and then to go forward. When I was unemployed, I believe this was in 2021, I had said to God, okay, if you could just give me a job by the end of 2021, that would be great. Like, that would be, amazing. So if we could just aim for by the end of 2021, please, ultimately, let it be your will. In the same way that when I was searching for jobs, every time I applied for a job, I was like, okay, just don't open the door to a job that you don't want me to have. I only want the job if it's the job that you want me to have. And then, obviously I got the job that I had applied for the year before and didn't get, but I'm so grateful that I didn't get it in 2020. And that's the thing also, you think that you know what you need in a given season, but ultimately God knows best. Because if I had got that job in 2020, my 2020 would have looked completely different, and all the great things that I was able to do and get involved in, and family time, there was even a day that I went to go and see both of my grandmas in the same day, which was just like one of the highlights of my 2020. And I wouldn't have been able to do those things so easily and so freely if I was stuck to a job. So thank God for that. But anyway, I had said to God, if I could have a job by the end of 2021, that would be great. But to my surprise, God said, you wanted one job. I'm going to give you 2 jobs in 2021. And that reminds me of the verse, where it says that God can do exceedingly and abundantly more than we could ever ask or imagine, something along those lines. And so I was in that role from August. I started my role on August 9th, if I remember correctly. And then in December, I believe the week of Christmas, I found out that I had been promoted, that I'd got the job for the senior role of the role I had literally just started half a second ago in August. And I, I mean, what I don't know what to say to that. And I was so surprised at the time. I'm going to insert a clip that I had sent to a friend of mine, and you can see that I just cannot believe. I was going to say my luck, but I just can't believe. I couldn't believe what God was doing. Like, when you're like, oh yeah, I'll follow you. Let's go where you want to go. If you could just do this, you're like, I'm believing for this, and then he's like, let's level up a bit, let's do more, and it's just like, I was so shocked, but I'll insert that clip here. Yeah, it's just wild, wild that this is my life now. Literally, the lady, the HR lady, she was like, hi, do you have time to do a call today? And I was like, oh, she's gonna just say terrible things, and then. Yeah, she called me and they ended up giving me the job, but like, my brain is like, just wild. I don't even know if I've answered your question properly, but if I haven't, please let me know. Now, once again, I think it's really important to mention that, yes, although I know that God's hand has been all over my career, and all over my life, there have been, of course, difficulties in that role, and then the second role as well. But I think what was really valuable was that, with God asking me to do art, which was out of my comfort zone throughout 2020 and then part of most of 2021, it really got me into the mindset of, the whole I can do anything through Christ type thing, and that I might not be capable, but like, with his help and support, and if it's something that he wants me to do, he will give me the tools and the ability to do it. With that knowledge and realizing that in its really basic form through art, it meant that when this job did come up, though it was out of my comfort zone and it had huge learning curves along the way, and despite that all, there was always a part of me that was like, if God is in this, it will always work out, and it has worked out. And I'm just so grateful that he used that unemployment season to prepare me for this season, because it's not the sort of thing I wouldn't have wanted to be plunged into without a good foundation and a good anchor to work with. Okay, and that moves me into my third job testimony. I'm going to have to rely more on my my notes probably for this part, but yes, so now we're moving into the present day, and this job testimony is actually a pending testimony, but I feel like God gave me confirmation about this a few weeks ago, so I'm happy to talk about it in faith. And I'll explain a little bit about how I even applied for this role. So this is within the same company, and I was off work one day and I was watching a YouTube video by The Chosen, The Chosen being a Christian series about the life of Jesus, and it's like really modern. The actors are top tier. The director put up a video where he was essentially explaining some Red Sea moments, so essentially moments where God had come through, oftentimes at the last minute, to help him with things that he couldn't control. There's a particular example that he uses where he had to film in the sea, but there was just fog everywhere, and he couldn't do anything until the fog cleared. And they had, you know, when they film, they only have a certain set amount of time, and I think it got to like they only had 15 minutes left until they would have to just pack up and go. And then he, you know, said to his wife via text message, like, I think we're just gonna have to call it a day. And she said no. No, like basically that God will come through, and he did, and they managed to get the shot that they needed in that 15 minutes, because all of the fog disappeared, despite the fact that it was forecasted to not go anywhere anytime soon. So I was watching that video, and I'll leave it in the description box below in case you're interested, but I was watching that video and I thought, I've been looking for a new role that fits into, you know, the direction that I'm trying to go in career-wise for a little while, but nothing seems to be sticking. And I thought this was like an invitation to, you know, pray to God and ask him for a Red Sea moment. And so I prayed, and then the next day I went back to work and I could see that a new role came up, and I read the job advert, the job spec, and, you know, I thought to myself, this feels like the perfect fit. I can see myself excelling in a role like this. This makes sense for my background. And what was odd about this also is that normally when they put a new job on the job page, they often announce it also internally, but this was not announced. And even, I mean, I think now it's been 3 weeks since the job has been up, and even now it hasn't been announced. And actually now the job's been taken down because, you know, the hiring manager doesn't want to have to interview a lot of people, because it's being advertised internally and externally also. But yeah, so there was everything about the job spec seemed like a perfect match, except for one small aspect. So I thought I'd message the hiring manager and see whether she thinks it's worth still applying, and to see if there's any wiggle room. And what I found interesting is that when she responded, she said she thanked me for contacting her, and then she said that I should definitely apply. I just found it really odd that someone would thank me for contacting them about applying for a job that they're currently trying to fill. That was my first thought, and I suppose my first unction that things might go my way. That same day, she advised me to talk to one of her colleagues, one of the people in the senior version of this particular role. And I reached out to one of them that was working in my time zone, and I thought, you know, maybe we would touch base the coming week or the week after, whenever he may be available. But he got back to me almost instantly, and by the end of that day, I had spoken to him all about his role and, you know, what it consists of. And it's worth mentioning also that when the hiring manager earlier on in the day had said that I should apply, I applied. So after speaking to the colleague, I got another message from the recruiter who is, you know, looking after that role, and she was like, "Hi, I've put an interview in your calendar for next Wednesday." It's worth bearing in mind that it was actually Thursday when I, you know, the day that I received that message, on the day that I had applied for the job. In the end, I ended up having to reschedule the interview for the morning of November 1st, and on that same day after I had the interview, the recruiter resurfaced again, and she's like, "Hi, I've heard great news. I've heard positive things about your interview. Are you available on Thursday?" So 2 days later, for a panel interview, and I was like, yeah, I mean, okay, let's go for it, because I'm the sort of person, I don't like things to drag on for too long, and if it's going to be a case that you're waiting for me so that you can make your decision, I'd like to get what I need to do out of the way so that you can decide whether you want me to move into this role or not. And so I had to, for that panel interview, I had to come up with a presentation, which I, organised and rehearsed throughout Wednesday, and I think it went really well. They were really friendly, and I could definitely imagine working with them. And so now I'm just waiting. I know that on Monday, what day is it on Monday? Let's see, let me just check. On Monday the 7th, they are having a debrief about all of the interviews that they have conducted. But yeah, so when I find out that I got the job, I will add the clip to the end of this video, and we can all rejoice on how good God is, and how he's just, I don't know, moving me along in my career much faster than I could have ever hoped or imagined. But yeah, I'm gonna have to wait now to upload this video until I have the clip. But yeah, I hope that you have enjoyed this video. I hope that it has reminded you of how good God is, or if you're not a Christian, if it's just, giving you more information about how God operates in really unique and just surprising ways. But yeah, I will see you in the next one. Take care. Have a wonderful rest of your day, rest of your week, or if it is the end of the week, have a good weekend. And yeah, take care.